Hey there, welcome to Hungry for More. I'm Robin Mons. This is Jennifer Winder, and we are with Hungry for More. And it's a Saturday morning when we're recording because end of school year stuff. My daughter graduated on Thursday when we are normally recording. And you know what? We're so passionate about changing our relationship with food, right? Freeing ourselves from the constant being in our heads about our weight and food, that it's worth it to us to be here on a Saturday morning and record this podcast for you. Be warned, there are things going on because it is a Saturday. I have carpet being installed downstairs. You may hear a little banging. People are around that normally aren't when we record, so
Yes.
bear with us.
No telling what could happen. It could be interesting.
Yes, but real people, real life, right? And we are still wanting to talk to you about something today about, Jennifer and I have our little favorite topics that fire us up. And I would definitely say this is on my top, maybe two topics. And that is, can eating for health and eating for pleasure coexist? And I think the first reaction people have is probably like, well, yeah, you need to have balance. And yes, they can, or I want it to. But I really want you guys to think about your mindset especially when you are in weight loss mode. Yeah. What's kind of the first thing we do when we decide, hey, it's time, I got to get serious, I got to hunker down, I got to lose some weight? Where does your mind go of what you need to do?
Well, for most people, it goes to, I got to cut everything out that I enjoy in life, which
exactly.
is great. And that feeds into the first thing, right? So you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, real quick, a little bit more prepping for this, and then I'll you can set it up for us on the visual. But that is exactly what we do. We gear up and go, okay, it's time. I've got to get the strength to let the things go. I can't eat these certain things because I can't lose weight if they're in my life. So that is an indication that we don't believe that these two things can coexist, especially if we want to live at a healthy weight. And that mindset is actually what makes this all the harder for us, right? Because it takes us to extreme type of behaviors. So set us up with that conversation.
Well, I was just thinking, as you're saying that, I mean, I think people will relate to this. If I know I'm going to start a diet, I am like, we've talked about it in past podcasts, I'm going to grab whatever I'm not going to be able to eat on my diet. And most people literally binge the whole week before they know they're starting and put on an extra 5 pounds. And they're like, well, I don't really care because I'm starting. And I'm saying this because I did all totally the time. Relating. I was like, what foods am I not going to be able to eat? And so it doesn't have to be like that anymore. So we want to picture, you called it a pendulum, right? I always called it a pendulum. And now I think I've been calling it the wrong name my whole entire life. I don't know. A lot of words like that where people correct me. They're like, what did you just say? Anyway, but imagine this pendulum, right? Where it swings, it swings back and forth both ways. And you have extreme one way and extreme another way. And we want to talk about the happy balance. But first, we're going to talk about the two extremes that a lot of people fall under when they're having to do with weight. So the first one is the one where it's like you're cutting everything out, right? You have to read every label that you eat. You have to just completely, I'm just going to tell you a personal story. Long ago, I want to say like 12 years ago, there was a really fad diet going around and you only ate 500 calories a day. And I actually did it twice. In 3 weeks, I would lose 26 pounds. And then in 3 weeks, I'd have the 26 plus a few back on. And then later on, I did it again. But my husband did it with me the first time. And he was a mean husband. I was like, listen, I know it sucks. I'm miserable too, but stop talking about it. Just do it or don't do it. But I don't want to hear about how much this sucks. And it was so awful. It's like, it was nothing. We were miserable. We just wanted food. That is the most extreme thing I think that I've ever done as far as specifically for weight loss, that there was no way that was sustainable. It was like for a quick binge. It was like, oh, I'm desperate. I want to get this weight off. And it was so miserable. It was so extreme. And the second it was done, I flipped to the other side of the pendulum. But do you want to say anything else on this one? Because on this side is where we have so much deprivation, right? We feel like we can't have anything. There's a fear of, if I do eat that, then I'm going to be in big trouble because I'll eat it all. I can't control myself. Like I haven't had it. I haven't allowed myself to have it. And now I am allowing myself to have it. So I don't trust myself to not eat it all. So what else do you want to say about that side?
Yes. Thinking about that outer ball, right, of the pendulum, of that extreme where we deprive. I think you covered that pretty well. I really want to highlight the level of distrust we have with ourselves. That think about that energy, think about what that creates for you with those foods. Think about how you even skip certain social situations because that food or that food group will be there, and how much it dictates your life and how you just feel that anxiety and that constant stress with it in order to protect yourself. And that's where the moral labels come in, and the heightened desire for it is created because of that. And all these things we do.
You used a good word when you said energy, because you spend so much energy. You think you're doing so good, but all you're doing all day long is thinking about what you can't have or what you're going to be able to have. And it's just this constant circle in your mind, and it's exhausting.
It's consuming, and exhausting because it's so consuming, right? So yes, let's talk about that. Think about the amount of energy you need to generate in order to sustain yourself there, where you stay away from those foods. You will yourself to say no when you're in the situations, right? To be on vacation and stick to your plan. All those things where, the energy required to protect yourself from these foods that you have taken away from you because you can't be trusted, and you fear how you will behave if you do give in. Just sit with that energy and how much you have to generate from yourself to maintain that type of energy.
It is all consuming.
It is. And that's why we don't. That's why at some point we give in. That's at some point we give out and we exhaust it. And what happens when this side is so tense and is lifted so high energetically, right? And bangs, well, then the other side responds. And that's when we that's
when we go to the other side.
Give out and go to the other side.
And before we talk about the other side, the one last thing I'll say is I've never seen anybody on this side that has stayed there.
Right.
Ever.
No, it's not sustainable.
No, it's never sustainable. Okay. So then we swing to the other side, and the other side, I've been here too, isn't it? I have been here.
Yeah, we've been all along it.
You just don't care. There's no boundaries. You're going to binge. You're like, whatever, that was way too restrictive. I don't want to live my life like that. So now I'm going to go to the polar opposite, where I eat whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm not consciously checking in with my body at all. I don't really care. And what happens is you have physical effects. One, a lot of times people just don't physically feel well either, but you also can be gaining weight because now you're overeating. So it's not even a maintaining weight. It's you are overeating. And with that, what happens comes guilt and shame and all of those things that come with it. So it's like the polar opposite of the other one, but still so extreme and leads to so many things down the road. And talk about the energy with this one, because there's the energy that comes with it also.
Right. What type of energy do you need to give to this in order to overcome? Because for a while it feels really good to be like, you know what? That doesn't work. That wasn't sustainable for me. Screw it. I'm just going to let it go and go back to, turn my brain off and let it go. And when we go to this extreme, at first, it doesn't feel like much energetic effort. But there comes a point where you're like, I can't keep doing this. And I've got to figure this out. And I've got to get started again. And I've got to, right? And also, all the while, you're combating a ton of self-judgment in this extreme. So think about the energy it takes to combat those thoughts, to try to regenerate yourself, to give it another go.
And most of the time, go ahead, Robin. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm just so excited.
I think you love this as much as me, and I love it. It is I think we get energized about it because we've lived in these places and we see it. And we see that it doesn't have to be this way. And we see how that both extremes are the reasons why we're thinking about food all the time and our weight all the time, right? And what just has us in a constant swirl. And so we just
and when we're in that side of the pendulum, it's like all you're thinking about is the only way I can stop this is to go to the other side.
Yes.
And that sounds terrible. Why would I do that when I can be over here eating whatever I want? I'll maybe take that shame with it. Occasionally we get a doctor's appointment, right? And they're like, whoa, you got to stop what you're doing or you're going to end up with diabetes. You're already pre-diabetic, or you're going to end up with, they start listing things, right? And then you're like, whoa, I got to go to the other side. I think sometimes we know that there may be a middle ground, but what is that middle ground? And that is the place we want to talk about today. That is the place that we want you to be, that we've been able to get to and not have these two extremes. And we want to just talk about this middle ground a little bit and what it takes to get there, because it's a much better energy. It's a much better healthy balance. So
yes, the energy and the results and the way of living here are amazing and super rewarding. But I will tell you, at first, you won't trust that you're capable of living in this space. We are so diet cultured to be in the swing of the extremes, and the extreme of the, over here of like never eating the food and canceling it, you do get quicker results and there's a payoff for that. And then over here, when you give out and swing, there's a payoff of like, nobody's telling me what to do and I get to do what I want, right? There's those extreme of the payoffs. And the middle way, I borrowed this from Taoism. That is one of their basic teachings and principles about living in the middle way. And so, of course, as always, we love that using this practice with food also helps you live in the middle way in the rest of your life. Think about like how you spend your time and how the choices you make, or maybe the people pleasing that we do on this extreme, right?
Right.
So the middle way, the first thing I want to warn you about is that you may have resistance to this as we talk about it. I know in our coaching, there's some resistance to it at first because you really do seem to believe that I can't coexist with this food. I just have to get rid of it because it's the problem. If I didn't love this food so much, if I didn't love sugar, if I didn't love treats, but I didn't love bread so much, I would be fine. And so if I could just get rid of it, I'll be okay. And again, people may make certain decisions because they have a really compelling reason and let it go for those reasons.
Right.
That's different than what we're talking about. When you're just wanting to do it because you're wanting results, but you don't intend to live this way forever, this is where these extremes just are never going to be sustainable for you. So the middle way. Did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to say, let's give an example of when it's okay to get rid of something on an extreme, because everybody has their things, right? So for me, I don't drink alcohol. It's just something I don't do. So it seems extreme because I say no, never, but it's never going to be something that I do. It's not something. And so for me, alcohol is one. Personally, I have several friends that are able to stay in the middle ground and still have alcohol.
Right.
They just do, and it's still okay. But that was one that was an extreme no for me. That was okay.
Right. Or maybe you have an allergy to the food,
right.
And it's not like, oh, let me try the middle way with this. No, if I eat this food, I will have difficulty breathing. And so I will not. Well, that's not the mindset we're talking about. That's not sustainable. Right. Or even with me, I have a certain food group that I have to be very limited with, or else I get skin conditions with it. And so for me, it's not, oh, I'm depriving myself of this because, I have to be extreme and I don't trust myself with this food. And if I have one, I don't know what will happen. It's like, no, my body's given me the feedback that this food is not its favorite for some reason. It's going to show me on my skin that it would rather me really limit, if not, eliminate the food.
Right.
And so that is a different energy. That is a different feel. So yes, as we continue with this conversation, what we're talking about is eliminating foods that you want to have in your life, but believe you can't because you won't be able to lose weight or be able to maintain the weight. So it's the foods you don't trust yourself with, but that you would, in the perfect world, you would be able to coexist with it. Right. So my dog's on the verge of going nuts. So let's keep going and hope for the best. Okay, so the middle way, let's talk about that. This looks like conscious eating. When you're in the middle way, you are aware of why you're wanting to eat. And that is more of what you're paying attention to versus can I or can't I eat this? Should I or shouldn't I eat this? Right? Is this on my plan? Is this allowed? How many calories is this? Those are all the extreme type of thoughts that guide our decisions when we're deciding if we should say yes or no. With conscious eating, we're checking in. Remember, before we eat, we check in. Why am I wanting to eat? Before I act on this, why am I wanting to eat? And if we recognize that it's a mind hunger that we've talked about before, the conditioned or emotional eats, then the answer is no, not because of the food in front of us, but because we've decided that that's not the purpose of food in that moment, is to meet that emotional need, right? So that is going to keep you in the middle way. And what's the energy like for you as you live this way? Because it does require you to say no. It does require some sort of energetic effort. Talk to me about your experience with that. Well,
for me, it's just more peaceful. It takes away, it's peaceful and it's calm. It's not like, oh, I want it so bad. I can't have it. I can't have it. I can't have it. I want it because of this and I can have it and I would enjoy that. Or no, I'm good. I mean, yeah, I could want, people say, do you want some? I'm like, yeah, I want some, but I'm really just not hungry. So I mean, it looks delicious, whatever that is. But I just find it to be a more peaceful, calm energy, not consuming. And, for me, it's going day to day. Like it's almost 10 o'clock. I just haven't eaten. I'm not hungry yet. But just knowing that when I need to eat, when my body needs it, I'll just go in and figure something out to eat. It's so different. I used to just have everything completely planned out.
Yeah. Right. Because if I don't, who knows what I'm going to do? Who knows what I'm capable of unless I'm on a stringent plan telling me exactly what to do. Right. So you shared what the effects are in the middle way. What about the effort? Because it takes effort to be a conscious eater. So it is super calming. Like that's the effect of it, but it does take effort.
Yeah, it does take effort because you have to be conscious, right? You can't be on that one side of the pendulum where we're not thinking about it at all. And so there is a conscious effort that you need. And, I'll just give an example. Last night, my son is engaged recently, and we were meeting my soon-to-be daughter-in-law's mom. And they came over for dinner last night. She was in town helping her wedding dress shop and all that fun stuff. So we're like, well, come over for dinner and we'll meet you. And I made a dinner. And when I have guests over, I just put, even if there's certain foods my body doesn't react well to, but others may not be like that. So I can put it out there. And I was like, Robin knows this about me. If you've listened to other podcasts, I love tortilla chips. Unless I have a specific kind, they hurt my stomach. Corn does not sit well with my body. I still eat it here and there because I'm in this middle space, but I have to know. But yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm good. I had all this stuff and I was thinking, I don't want the corn. I don't want the stomach ache tonight. It was a night I didn't want the stomach ache. And we just kept going. It wasn't, no, you can't have those. No. It was, you know what? I think I'm going to feel good tonight. That's how I did it for me. But so for me, it's just peaceful. It's like I could have them if I want them, but I can check in with my body and see. And that's where the conscious part of it comes. It's not just aimlessly. In the past, I would have just been dishing everything up, right? That I had prepared.
Right. Yes. And so we talked about the energy on each extreme and how much you have to generate to maintain both. And in the middle, there is an effort and energy required in order to maintain the middle way, but it's not even close to what it is on the outskirts. And I'm speaking from experience from having swung over and over. And for me, it's number one, that commitment to being conscious of before I'm reacting to food, I'm just going to consult with the body first and make sure, hey, are we good? Is this you talking to me or is this my mind? So very little effort on that. And when you have the awareness, when your body's like, I really don't feel like that. When, you check in and your body's like, I don't feel like that. You're saying no for that reason, out of listening to your body, not because you said you're not allowed to ever have this because you are a nightmare around this food. You can't be trusted. There are none of those thoughts because that very same food in another time when I come across it, I do genuinely want it and I do have it. And when I have it, I'm not scared saying, oh no. And at first when I was getting used to the middle way, I had to work through some of these thoughts. It's like, oh no, if you have this, you're going to want the next thing and you weren't going to be able to stop. But that is why we just persist and say, no, I'm moving out of the extremes. And moving out of the extremes means it's a yes, and it's okay. And it doesn't have to mean that it's going to turn into something else because now I'm allowing it. But when I'm saying yes, because I genuinely want it, not because I saved it for the special moment and the special moment came and I'm going to have it no matter what is going on with the body, right? The yes feels good, but not this scared, overly energetic yes. And the no makes sense. I say no for reasons that make sense and I agree with.
Right. I mean, one extreme is yes to everything. Yes. Another extreme is no. And in the middle, it's a yes and a no.
Right.
And it's all about where you are that day and what your body is feeling like. And it's being conscious and checking in the moment. It's not Friday, we're having a fiesta, so I know I'm going to binge on tortilla chips.
Right.
When Friday comes.
It's the weekend. Yeah.
When Friday comes, I'll say, I don't know if maybe I'll have tortilla chips. Maybe I won't. We'll figure it out when I get to the meal.
Right. Yes.
I love it. Again, it's so great.
It is so great. And again, I want to compare the energy that you just spoke of, Jennifer, like in the past when it was Friday night's coming, I know I'm serving this. I'm going to go crazy. I'm not going to, I'm going to let myself just have fun. Think of the thoughts that have us swinging over here and the way we behave when that's going on and how we're just trying to recover on Monday from all that energy we just, the behavior, right? And then instead of the effort of the middle way of going, when the brain's like, hey, it's Friday night, and you're like, yeah, I have no idea right now. It's Friday morning. I have no idea what I'm going to feel like tonight. But if I want some, it'll be there. But I'm not even going to have to think about it or make a decision right now until I'm there. Like the difference in effort and energy is huge. It's huge and cannot be overstated. Like we can't say enough how important that is. Now let's talk about, in the middle way, yeses are absolutely present and part of life with the treats, right? With those pleasure foods, but it's also no. And yes, of course, getting ready for this podcast, trying to think about how to walk you guys through that, because I know for so many of you, like it was for me, you couldn't even picture this. And for me yesterday, I had after lunch, I had some chocolate covered strawberries that I love, these frozen ones. And it was wonderful. And I loved it. It was great. And later that evening, my husband, we ran some errands and went out and he wanted some ice cream. And if anytime, you're around these foods, your brain's going to be like, ooh, it's going to give attention to it, And I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. But I was like, yeah, I had a treat earlier today. I actually didn't even feel like much desire for it. It was just more of like, oh, but we're out and he's getting ice cream and it's kind of fun and it's a Friday night and it's just alone. Those were the thoughts more pushing me. And the answer was no. Even though I wanted to have some, the answer was no. Because for me, my body's given me the feedback that, hey, more than once a day of these treats just floods my insulin out and we get the effects of it. And so that is how I manage with it. It doesn't mean that ice cream is just a thing I've canceled because I can't handle myself or because it's not good for me. It's because of when it was presented to me, that didn't work for me. I chose. Right.
It wasn't deprivation like, oh, I already had my treat today, so I can't have another treat. It was my body does well with one treat today, not two. And it's just a completely different way of looking at things.
It really is. Truly, I know what like that psychological deprivation with food feels like. I think if you're listening to this, we all really do. And it's a thing that I think we need to talk about deeper in another episode. Mm-hmm. But in the middle way, you do not feel this way. Do I feel bummed sometimes? And I'm like, we've had enough today. That's good. We're good. The answer is no. Am I bummed sometimes? Do I want more sometimes and say no? Yes. But again, that effort of being like, it's wise to stop now. That effort is so different than no, you can't. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Or, you know what, screw it. And off we go. And then the effort to recover from that. So the middle way, I think sometimes we're like, I just want to get to the point that I just am never uncomfortable, that I can just have whatever I want, whenever I want, and not have any effects from it. Dang it. That's just not the world we live in. But there is a way that the effort is less and the extremes collapse into this peaceful place. And it really is possible.
Right. And when you say that's not the way it works, I mean, that's with everything. There's cause and effect. Think if there were no rules when you were driving, right?
Yeah.
Or just different things like that. It would be mayhem out there and there would be very adverse consequences. So there are boundaries that help without being restrictive.
Absolutely. Such a good point. Everything, if you look out into anything out in the world, anything that is vibrant and healthy and functioning well has boundaries.
Yeah.
Has, healthy boundaries as part of it, as the structure of it. And it's no different here. And we are used to thinking boundaries sound like no, don't, can't, shouldn't, right? And the moral labels we give like, oh, the healthier the food, the better I am, right? And if I eat this way, I feel terrible. Like all of those things get us confused. And those are not true boundaries. Those are not healthy boundaries. Those are kind of harmful, psychologically harmful ways that we have learned to motivate ourselves to behave that we need to do. And this is where coaching, I just have to speak to that. This is where coaching is so important. We hope with these podcasts, like if you guys were to listen to an episode and something clicks in you and it changes your life, we love that. That's what we hope for this. for some of us, because we've been swimming in this waters of diet culture and of that mindset, coaching is really so impactful on undoing these things so that you can live in the middle way. The middle way is not just the behavior of saying yes sometimes and no sometimes. It's how you think first. That's what allows you to exist peacefully in that space. And sometimes we need help with that, undoing those things. And that's the power that comes, with the group coaching that we do. So I have to shout that out, because that's really the work. That's undoing these extreme type of thinking that has us on those ends of the pendulum that we can land. So if you are interested in working with us and in our membership, we're about to launch something exciting. Let's just give a little sneak preview teaser on it.
Man, I wasn't prepared for this.
I know. I didn't have it planned to talk about this, but.
So we're so excited because we love our coaching program, and we have seen amazing results, but we're going to start it up in a way where we believe we will be able to help a lot more of you. Yeah. And we're going to be doing 60-day challenge. We're hoping to launch July 1st. That's knock on wood. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be awesome. For 60 days, we are literally going to do our phase 1 of our program with you, which is all mindset and all foundation. We're not taking anything away. We're not adding anything in. It's not, I don't know if I'm ready to do a diet for 60 days. Nope. Yeah. We are going to do all the mindset, and tell them the best part, because this is awesome. And tell them about the price.
I was going to say, it's the price, right? So it's mindset 60, and it's $1 a day, $1 a day to do the 60-day challenge. And I want you guys to think of that hard 75. This is a spin on that we're going to teach you. It actually doesn't have to be hard. And the reason I'm glad we're talking about it on this episode is this Mindset 60 challenge is going to do the mental work to prepare you to live in this middle way. We're going to teach you this on such a deeper level, on a neural pathway level. We're teaching you through these daily things how to rewire your brain out of the extremes and into this middle way. Yep. It's going to be amazing.
So watch for more information coming. It will be coming soon.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else? I know I took us on a tangent.
No, I think
we covered that. Yeah, pretty well. So can health and pleasure coexist and live in a healthy body? Like, is it possible to live at a healthy weight and be a healthy person and have a balance of eating for pleasure and for health? And the answer is yes. Absolutely. Yes, it is. And we want that for you. I think so many of you want that deep in your heart to know. I think something in you knows that there's a place for that, but you've lost that trust in yourself to exist in that space. And we hope today that listening to the episode, you could see yourself along the pendulum, and that you can see that there is a middle way, and step into it. We invite you to step into it. And it begins with conscious eating.
Yeah, we're so excited. Okay, go be middle people.
Go live the middle way.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
We will see you soon.
See you next time.